Today's tip will talk a little bit more about insurance coverage that you purchase when you go see your automobile insurance agent. Today we'll talk a little bit about what's called medical payments coverage. A lot of people don't understand what that means, but basically what it means is that your insurance company agrees to pay for your out-of-pocket medical expenses incurred in a car crash up to the limits of the coverage that you purchase. For example, most people when they buy medical payments coverage will buy $5,000 in coverage. And what that means is that first $5,000 in medical bills that you incur as a result of a car crash is paid by your insurance company, irrespective of whether you're at fault or the other person's at fault. Now that becomes important. A lot of people think if they have health insurance coverage, they don't need medical payments coverage. That's not correct. When you have a health insurance carrier and they pay expenses incurred in connection with a car crash, 99% of the time they have a provision in the policy that says, if you're injured by the actions of a third person, you must reimburse us for anything we paid out in connection with that car crash. For example, let's assume that you got injured in a car crash and there's $15,000 in available insurance coverage on the part of the adverse driver. Your insurance company pays out $10,000 in medical costs associated with your care after the car crash. Well, they have a provision in their policy which says we are entitled to be reimbursed 100%. And if they're what we call in a resale self-insured plan, they are entitled to be repaid 100% of what they paid out. Now, in that same scenario, if you had $15,000 in available insurance coverage from the adverse driver and you had medical payments coverage, when medical payments coverage pays those bills, there is no obligation to reimburse your insurance company, and that is pursuant to Nevada statutory law. So, obviously, it's of tremendous financial benefit to carry this coverage. It's not particularly expensive, and I always recommend that you carry at least $10,000 in medical payments coverage, because I would say, based on my experience, the large majority of the cases that I handle involve medical expenses that are somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 in total. And in that situation, what happens is you can have your medical payments coverage pay the bills, and when you recover from the adverse driver, you do not have to repay your insurance carrier, which obviously means a lot more money in your pocket.